Get ready, get set, and hold on! It's time for the Mouth of Matuszak show, and it's going to be one heck of a ride. For today, Wednesday, September 25th, 2014, and I'm your host, Paul-Gregory Matuszak, and I'll be with you for the better part of the next hour for some exciting hump day stuff. Get your work day going, get everything going, or if you're listening to the podcast, get the rest of your day going. And speaking of getting things going, let's get things going with a little bit of Steve Crowder and Chris Lash with Mr. America.
Mr. America, look what you've done.
Yeah, looking at the country is not what I intended. Gotta start to make a change before the never-ending story of a failed nation runs straight out of luck. Like $1 million Tyler Perry movies, you suck. All your little have lots, you're still selfish. You want more voting in your self-interest now instead of the core principles that made this country both honest and true. Free to speak, worship, pursuit of your happiness too. With all the money you fly, you gon' be needing a big freeze. Hate the size of the Fed like Jesus hated the fig tree. As the spending goes up, you gotta borrow some more. Borrowing from the Chinese like, oh my lord. Instead you just tax more, you're increasing the size of the federal government. Yeah, the Georgia surprise. You'll be done like Detroit, man, no you ain't coming back. Forget it, I'm out, I'm muzzle loading.
Mr. America, look what you've done. You trade your liberty and sovereignty for lies and promises. Mr. America, don't you run away. You pick up pieces up and face the problems, you'll be great again. I got tired of rolling over in my grave every day, making a monarchy of my beloved U.S. of A. Your little glitches need reminding of what we were before, and the sits that led us up to revolutionary war. High taxes to the throne without a voice of our own. Rule top down from the crime we wanted left alone. Oh, y'all so soft, you're taking it year after year. We were fighting red coats while we're brewing our beer. Now I'm drinking, spitting ciphers through a grill made of wood. That's how it all went down in G-Dub's neighborhood. Packing cannon balls like powder hammers with cock, lock, click, clack. The loss of backs like the attack. The chicken littles who don't know me, listen, don't let it twist. We kick the A's of the B's for much less than this. So don't deny the historical climbing out of the mud. Follow me, believe this creed, plant the seeds and be free. America, look what you've done. You trade your liberty and sovereignty for lies and promises. Mr. America, don't you run away. You pick up pieces up and face the problems, you'll be great again.
On the warrants at 8-5 when it's really at 12. Hear me, classes in session, you can't be safe by the bell. What happens when you keep printing more dough? Both parties have gone green like their name was Al Gore. Yeah, but right now you're high. Hey, ain't you big hitter? But now I'm back from the dead. I'm bringing back all my Knickers.
What, Knickers? No, it's okay. I can say Knickers because I wear Knickers.
Man, you think I say that? What's wrong with you? I'm just talking about my show back then. I rock with my shoe. But let's go back to the first point I was trying to make. The degradation of our freedoms and a country at stake. The government's getting grand while private sector grows smaller. Pour one out for your homies, cause here comes the cold water. Unemployment still rising, a death growing still. The only change you're gonna get is being left with the bill.
Mr. America, look what you've done. You trade your liberty and sovereignty for lies and promises. Mr. America, don't you run away. You pick up pieces up and face the problems, you'll be great again. Mr. America, whoa, whoa. Mr. America, whoa, whoa.
Yeah. Give it up there. Powdered Zombies. Get your Wednesday morning going. Time to raise to that height of prosperity, that height of productivity. Get everything done, get that energy level up high, and start really working it so that you can coast it on down for the rest of the week. Make sure you get all that stuff done, get stuff done a little bit early, work a couple extra hours. So that come Friday, maybe, just maybe, you can get off a little bit early. Or even if you get off on time, you got a little bit of that overtime built up so that you have a little bit more to enjoy on your time off on the weekend. That's what the pursuit of happiness is all about, folks. You work hard so that you can play hard. You can't play hard if you don't work hard, because you ain't got it to play with. So, just my 2 cents. Part of my little work ethic. Y'all hear it every single day here, but we got other things to talk about on this wonderful hump day. Once in a while I kind of come out and talk about the Loonie left or Loonie Liberals, but today we're going to start with something that, well, it originates on the left. It's mostly on the left. It's kind of a sub-segment to the left. And, of course, we're talking about those people who despise the U.S. Constitution so much that they want to completely infringe and completely erase the Second Amendment so that the other 9 within the Bill of Rights, as well as the rest of the amendments in the U.S. Constitution and the base articles themselves, can no longer be defended and protected by the free citizens of our country. Yes, of course, I'm talking about the wonderful gun grabbers out there. Our favorite useful idiots like Shannon Watts and her ilk over at Moms Demand Aggression Against Anybody Who Loves the Constitution, or whatever that acronym stands for, MDA. Every town demands gun grabbers come and confiscate your lawfully and properly owned property. Those people. Bloomberg's jackbooted little cronies. Speaking about jackboots and cronies, and good old Moms Demand, who think they speak for all women when they actually speak for a minority of women. One of Shannon Watts' right-hand or left-hand women, the person who uses Shannon Watts' brain cells, 2 brain cells when Shannon Watts not currently using them. I'm talking about Alison Martin. Well, she started confronting somebody about gun grabbing, and somebody brought up a quote about confiscating guns from Josef Goebbels, or Goebbels, depending on how your German pronunciation is. Well, Josef Goebbels was Hitler's minister of propaganda within the Nazi Party. He hated free citizens with guns. In fact, he hated anybody that didn't look right, didn't fall lockstep in with their ideology, who had a free thought within their head, made money that didn't have the government's direct involvement in making that money. National Socialism and all the evil and genocide that went along with it. Goebbels was one of the people that advocated anybody that was born with a birth defect or a learning disability or Down syndrome or anything similar like that, or autism, should be rounded up and put into a concentration camp and summarily euthanized, because they weren't going to have full, fruitful lives, and they weren't going to be able to contribute to the National Socialist Society. So they were rounded up first. That was before they started working on the Jews, the Poles, the Catholics, and anybody else that kind of opposed their worldview. So, you have this guy Goebbels, who's also a big advocate of gun control. And somebody, in attempting to have an intelligent discussion with Alison Martin, brought up the quote from Goebbels from one of his propaganda flyers concerning gun control. And the words were, if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. And of course, that was in reaction to Alison Martin's statement that, hey, if you've got nothing in your background, then why are you opposed to increased background checks? Well, first of all, the background checks that are done are fairly thorough already. Anything more that they do is actually an intrusion. And trying to do those further, deeper background checks actually does infringe upon the freedom to own or keep and to carry or bear arms, which the Constitution says will not be infringed. So if you have to go through a background check, that's already infringing on that. It's deciding who can and who can't, rather than it just being a blanket statement of shall not be infringed, period. So this individual quoted Goebbels with that whole statement. You know, because of course, if they want to find an excuse on you, they will. And they want increased background checks so they can get more data, so they can look at some excuse and invent some excuse to deny you your rights. That's the way it worked in Nazi Germany. That's the way it worked in fascist Italy. That's the way it worked in the USSR and Communist China, North Korea, Iraq under Saddam Hussein, Syria under Assad, and then in Africa under Idi Amin. And the list goes on and on and on of every single tyrant out there. But I'm doing it for the public safety. We have to make sure only the right people get these rights so that we can give you your special privileges. Here, go to the shower, and we're going to turn on the special water just for you. Yeah, never mind the special rubber seals around the windows. Never mind the fact you're going to be locked in the shower room when we turn it on. Yeah, it's for your safety. So the person, quoted that and quoted Goebbels and the statement that he made of if you have nothing to hide, then you have nothing to fear. And Alison Martin as well. Goebbels was a very wise man. You hear that, folks? She idolizes the wisdom of a Nazi propagandist, of a genocidal maniac. That is a type of person you have within the leadership of Mom's Demand. They're National Socialists. They're Nazis. They probably worship Hitler, have little Hitler idol dolls sitting in their secret sanctuaries within their homes going, Om Padme Heil Hitler. And saying, please, guide us, short, bad mustached one, on how we can take the guns away from the law-abiding citizens of our free country. That is what they do. That's how they think. And yet they sit there and try to say that National Socialism isn't a left-wing ideology. Well, right there shows the link and shows the proof, and also shows the proof that this whole gun grab mentality is very much a deep-seated left-wing mentality, which they agree to, but it's tyranny. It hints on genocide and megalomania because they're afraid of a free people being armed in order to defend their freedoms against future tyranny. And that's what it is, folks. And speaking about ill-educated and myopic gun grabbers who think that they're special little snowflakes who get should get automatic special privileges instead of having the same laws apply equally across the board to everyone. We have somebody who lobbied for gun grabber laws, the SAFE Act in New York to be specific. And he lobbied for these laws, and he was like, nobody should have a gun in school zones, and we need to tighten up all of the punishments and sentences and blah 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 blah. Because nobody should have a gun. There's no reason for it. This same guy, Dwayne Ferguson, who lobbied for the SAFE Act, and lobbied to infringe upon the Second Amendment and people's rights to the private property, that is their firearms, thinks that just because he's on the gun grabber, the anti-gun side, and lobbied for that law, that somehow it should not apply to him. He's part of that special collective. There you go, folks. The special collective with their special shiny privileges instead of laws applying equally across the board. Or at least that's what he believed. And Dwayne Ferguson, not once, but from I recall correctly, and I'm going to have to go and check my sources real quick. But if you hop over to BuzzPo, there's a full story there about the incidents. But I know at least once he walked into an elementary school with his handgun on him. I think it may have even been twice. And it's a felony action to walk into a school zone, a gun-free zone in New York. It's a felony. And yet he walked into an elementary school where he had been volunteering to do some volunteer work. I think it's volunteering, which is good on him for that. But he, went with his concealed handgun on him. Now, because he's such a special little snowflake, despite the fact they called SWAT out and canine units and everything else in a nice, good gun grabber typical overreaction, despite all that, and the response of 15 patrol cars, good Lord, folks. Talk about overkill for one guy who happened to still have his concealed carry piece sitting in his belt. But anyway, this guy opposed having guns on school grounds anyway, so if he's a hypocrite, he should have not brought it. In fact, he should just turn all his guns in and never own them in the first place. In fact, now he should be a convicted felon. The thing is, they turned around and gave him a plea bargain and pleaded it down. The guy who wants stiffer penalties begged for a plea bargain and ended up getting only 100 hours community service and a slap on the wrist, and basically the felony charge is suspended unless he screws up on his probation, a 3-year probation. So, but should he violate that 3-year probation, he ends up going to jail for a year for the felony and loses, because it's a gun charge, he's going to lose his CHL and his ability to have a firearm. But he gets to keep it for now. Why? Because he's an anti-gun activist, so he gets to keep his gun. Talk about hypocrisy, huh, folks? So if you go on over, Steve Ale wrote this up over at BuzzPo, and it's gun activist charged with 2 felony gun crimes, released with slap on wrist. So that's the second story there of the lunacy of the gun grabbing crowd. Of course, the first one there is also at BuzzPo, and it's Moms Demand Action Leader says Nazis spoke wise words, and that's of course over the one talking about Alison Martin, the body that shares the brain cell with Shannon Watts. So go ahead over there and read the rest of those articles, folks, and see what that's all about. Don't just take my word and take my verbiage for granted. Just go ahead and read the articles. There's a lot more information in there, and then that could also give you stuff if you want to look at the other side to see what's going on. Don't just take one side's spin on anything. And I'm not going to say that this is an anti-spin zone, because I do spin things from my own perspective, and I do try to see things through other perspectives. I'm interested in hearing what your perspective is, so if you want to call in, please do. The number here is 520-226-8567. That's 520-226-8567. Go ahead and give us a call. We'll put you on the air and let you put your spin on things, your perspective, your words, what you think about all this. Now, speaking about the broader category of those Loonie Liberals, we've got one written by, I think this article was done by my friend Liz Harris.